Hello and welcome back to what is the last part of the Olympus coaster. This episode we are finishing up all the exterior details, at least for the most part. There is one area that is going to be left until we fill in the Library of Alexandria, and I'll point that out when we get over there. But here, now, we will be finishing up everything else, at least as far as I think I want to take it, and then also at the end, after the speed build section, we will take a ride on the coaster, and then after the ride, I'll probably fly around a little bit and give you some better shots of everything, and hopefully you guys kind of like that format. So, what we're doing here is continuing off from last time, of course, and I'm putting some braziers at the entrance to this little temple down along the hillside here. And it's going to have a little dirt path lined with some wonderful little plants and shrubs, things of that nature around. And then, of course, putting in a little bit of rock detail just for additional layers of kind of these 3D elements. And that also will tie the structure a little bit better into the cliff face, as this is definitely kind of on the side of the mountain and a little bit more of I guess a final touch, kind of last second thought for a building. It is kind of using two buildings meshed together that we've already built, so I use that to try and save as much time as possible, though trying to make the mesh and then also fill in some details on it itself did take up a little bit of time. It's going to be a lot of placing rocks this episode, as I do want to at least make the mountain feel a little bit textured, a little bit more 3D than these rolling kind of not flat, but very smooth hills. Mountains tend to be a little bit obviously more jagged than how I'm portraying it here. And in fact, if it was up to me, I'd probably go back in and make it even more jagged. I feel like overall it's probably a little too smooth for my liking still. But in the interest of time and to move on, as we really only have a couple days remaining until I have to submit this thing to Frontier, and hopefully they like it for their little contest. Though everyone else, from what I've seen, is building some really amazing stuff. Of course, over at and Kokomunda and a few others that names are escaping me right now. I'm really bad with names. In fact, I'm kind of surprised I remembered two. So this is the front of the bathhouse, kind of just refitted to look a little bit more temple-esque. Braziers, some lanterns, added a little bit of gold motif in the middle, kind of entryway there, just to make it feel a little bit more of an important structure. I was going to originally put the dome, or at least a copy of a dome, on there, but I figured against it just because I don't think it really... Having two domes might take away from the main one up top. And so I decided to just copy the other temple entrance and make that into a balcony that just kind of hangs off the side of the mountain. Now, from above, this might be a little repetitive, but while you're on the coaster and on ground level, it's not. And I think that's just simply due to you're not really seeing the whole structure, and so you don't have anything to compare it to at the same time as if you were zoomed out. Now, obviously, we're going to have to go in, add some molding, add some little details to try and fill in the gaps that are left behind from the copy and paste and moving these two structures and joining them. But it was relatively quick, and especially since the balcony side didn't need as much detail, it went fairly okay. Here, adding some cool new windows up on the second level, which I think look pretty nice. Even adding some metal rings for some additional detail, and some lower windows as well. This is actually pretty cool, using the flutes of the pillars as a little bit of a wall detail, something that I like. And then also throwing in I guess some baseboard molding, at least in the entryway a little bit. It doesn't have to be very perfect, and that's mainly because, again, it's meant to be viewed from the roller coaster, and even what I'm doing now isn't really viewable, but I felt like I should at least take it all the way and make it a complete stone structure, at least for my sanity and my OCD sake, because otherwise I would probably go a little crazy. So just going to be using copy and paste. I do like to draw the box around the area, followed by deleting some of the sections behind it. That way I can just grab the molding itself. It makes it a little bit quicker to do copy and paste if you do it like that. Though there are sometimes it doesn't copy the whole thing, and so therefore you have to go back in and just add a little bit more to it. And I'm not even worried about the texture here. I just wanted that white wall to be coherent and wrapping all the way around the area. And in fact, we'll eventually go back in and put a little bit of stonework along the edge, just so it looks like it fits the terrain a little bit better. But until then, we'll just keep working on this upper area, trying to, I guess, fill in as much detail as possible. On camera, though, you'll notice that we're actually staying above ground for this whole speed build section. As, to be honest, I'm not super confident in how the netherworld turned out. I hope you guys can give me some feedback on that, so I might be able to tweak some things in between episodes. And that took a while to try and at least partially work for my liking. And then also trying to light the place, as I haven't really done much lighting in my park, and I need to go back in and actually light the coaster for nighttime, because the underworld, in my opinion, isn't dark enough during the day, which is kind of a shame. I kind of wish they would fix that with their lighting a little bit. The fact that the lighting should take into account, you know, am I underground in a giant cave? Yes, so therefore it should be dark. But in here during the day, it's pretty bright down there, so it kind of takes away from the mood. Here, again, we're just trying to fill in as much kind of little textural areas around the mountain, making areas kind of pop out. You can see I did do a little bit of skip and filled in a little bit more rocks through that tunnel where the coaster was kind of cutting through that spine, and that turned out really well. I'm pretty happy with how that went. And then, as you can see, we are going back as I wanted and just touching up the base area of that balcony area. It turned out okay. You know, again, I just wanted something a little bit better of a transition in that spot from a distance, just for, again, my OCD's sake. So how I go about doing these rock clumps is that I lay down kind of a centralized main rock that everything kind of branches off of, and then as you get farther away, the rocks get a little bit more spaced out until there's a little bit of a gap in between each area. And I feel like that's probably, at least for me, the easiest and most realistic way that I go about doing these rock faces and stuff. Now down here, we're getting close to the entrance of the netherworld, and here I don't know how the library is going to play out, and so therefore that spot, that little last loop kind of turn in the coaster, is left barren for the time being until I figure out. I might end up putting a little temple there, who knows. But the entrance to the netherworld is pretty cool. If you flip a tree upside down, you get some nice, I guess, wooden tendrils to work with. And if you put a purple bush in it, I thought it looked a little bit more sinister. And of course, we have a skull motif right above the entrance, and the entrance is just filled with smoke. So when you're going in there, you really can't see where you're going. And then as you work through a little valley, you are greeted with basically the river Styx, which I think turned out okay. Again, I'll probably need your guys' feedback just to touch up some things. And then finally, we will go to the station, kind of put some rocks here, just so it makes sense as you're coming out that you're going back from this underworld area back to the temple. And you are, I guess the overall story arc is the fact that you climb Mount Olympus. You basically get thrown off Mount Olympus, tumble down it, and then go through the river Styx and everything. And then you arrive back to the temple for sake of getting back to the station more so than anything. But yeah, I'm happy with how this turned out. It was rather simple, just trying to whitewash the building as much as possible and getting that to fit. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the speed section here and then take a quick ride on the coaster and see what you guys think. It is a little bit of a long one, and I'm not going to be talking during the ride at all. It's just going to be nice in-game sounds, and hopefully you guys get a good feel for how it would be if you were playing on my PC. So let's see how that goes. Alright, so I hope you all enjoyed the ride of Mount Olympus. It was fun. You know, it's for my first coaster on the park and everything, and kind of my first, in my opinion, good coaster that I've ever done. It was a great learning experience, and of course, if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to let me know down below, as you guys are really helping me out here, and it definitely makes you guys feel like, hopefully, like you're a part of the process. So let's go ahead and go over some stuff that wasn't in the speed build, and also look at some things in a little bit of a slower manner. So this is the new kind of temple on the back side of the mountain, and I think it turned out well. It definitely looks the part. Even the balcony, though a little repetitive of a pattern, but that's okay considering it's not really even visible past this point anyways. But yeah, I like the little garden area, I like the little path, and things like that. I think that turned out well, and you can see also just how much stuff we were able to cram in this little valley to try and make it look as overgrown and as nice as possible. Here is the little tunnel that really wasn't covered in the speed build. A little bit of it was, but all in all, I think this looks really nice. Definitely gives that kind of carved out feeling. So that looks nice as well. Here's just a little panning shot of just all the little details. And then this, of course, being the entrance to the underworld. I do like how, of course, we flipped these roots over to make some wooden tendrils. And as they go in, let's go ahead and follow. And you can see the smoke and all the special effects in here. In fact, I'm going to double up the speed just because I do want to show you guys, at least in this section, what this does look at night when it actually becomes kind of a full dark area. And I think it looks a little bit better than it does now. But we do have some ruined pillars and ruined kind of Roman and Greek elements down here, just to signal, I guess, the death of things. In fact, I even put the theater facade over here and basically just made it into a ruin, and I think that turned out well. And here is actually one of the gazebos, kind of ruined and tilted and broken all to bits. You can also notice some of the spotlights hidden underneath the water. I do like the verticality of those colors, and they do light up the area decently at nighttime for sure. Here is the boat you would be riding on the river Styx and everything. And the feeling that, you know, I wanted to capture for sure is that meandering kind of river boat ride that you would take to cross the river Styx and everything. I do want to slow down probably this track here, just for, I just don't like the sudden acceleration that it takes off on. That needs to be a little bit smoother. You probably noticed that in the kind of ride shot that we did take, that this section is a little jerky, and I don't really like that. I do want to show you a little bit of a cool building technique. This is to build kind of a broken and ruined column. It is essentially a couple columns and other marble pieces thrown together, and then if you use these little vertical kind of brick-like accents, you can make some sections that look like they're properly decaying. I think I have, you know, some of it on top, and then also over here on top to kind of signal that it's definitely broken off, at least a little bit. Though they are squared, it's at least better than I guess normal. So here you can see some of the lights, and in fact we'll look on the outside real quick. It is lit up a little bit. We have that skull, and we will be using some yellows, some purples, and a lot of greens in here to kind of give the ambience that I'm kind of looking for. So as you work your way down the valley, you can see kind of these pastel gem-like colors around, and I think they light up the area nicely. And also some of the ruins, it looks rather, I guess, spooky and a little foreboding. Have some of these elements lit up just to catch your eye as you are rolling through and meandering your way around. It definitely looks a lot better at night in my opinion, though it's still not perfect. I'm not great with the lighting just yet. Anyways, I think that's going to do us for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you all enjoyed the content, feel free to subscribe if you're new. Go ahead and hit that like button. Leave a comment down below on what you guys think. And if there's anything that you want me to edit and change, please let me know, as it's very much appreciated. So until then, I think that's going to do us, and I'll see you guys next time in some more Planet Coaster.